well, off.
Definitely.
But imagine looking in the mirror, I mean really looking, and not even recognizing the person staring back. That's kind of what we're starting today. We're doing a deep dive into one woman's story. Over 5 years, she had 3 pregnancies, pretty close together.
Right. Back to back, almost.
Exactly. And she gained nearly 220 pounds. Let's just sit with that number for a second. That's almost 100 kilos. It's a huge change.
It's a profound physical transformation, absolutely. And, changes that big, they rarely just stay on the surface level, do they? The speed of it, 3 pregnancies so fast, that puts, well, just an enormous strain on the body, hormones, resources, everything.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just the number on the scale, right?
Yep.
Think about the daily stuff. Your clothes suddenly don't fit.
A constant reminder.
Yeah, a really tangible, everyday reminder. And then you get into the deeper stuff. Not feeling like yourself. Maybe even sensing your husband looks at you differently.
Those are incredibly difficult, intimate things, often things people don't talk about.
And then friends making comments, maybe trying to be helpful, maybe not, but it just adds to feeling isolated. Does that external stuff usually make the internal struggle worse?
Oh, absolutely. That social feedback loop is incredibly powerful. How we see ourselves is so tied up in how we think others see us.
Right.
So when that perception seems to shift, especially for people close to you, it can really shake your sense of identity. It just piles on top of the personal distress.
And beyond the emotional side, the physical limits she described. Wow, they really paint a picture. Walking becoming hard work.
Something most of us don't even think about.
Exactly. And playing with her kids, something that should be joyful, turning into this huge physical effort.
Yeah.
And just feeling tired and sore all the time. That must be completely draining. How does gaining weight like that usually affect just basic movement?
Well, significant weight gain puts a lot of extra stress on your whole system. Joints, muscles, your back, everything. So yeah, fatigue, pain. It's very common. Everyday movements take more energy, so you have less energy overall. And that impacts everything. Your ability to do things you enjoy, connecting with family, it really affects quality of life.
The source we looked at used this phrase, trapped in a body that no longer kept up with her will to live.
Yeah.
It really lands, doesn't it?
It does. It speaks volumes.
It's not just about how you look. It's like your physical self is actually holding back your spirit, your life force.
Precisely. And while we're focusing here on this really tough initial period, the source does mention, but then something changed.
Nice.
Which is so intriguing, isn't it? It hints at a shift, some kind of turning point. Makes you immediately wonder, okay, what happened next? What was the catalyst?
Definitely. So really, the goal of this deep dive today was to properly understand the sheer weight, literal and metaphorical, of this initial struggle she went through.
Yeah.
The rapid physical changes, the emotional burden of feeling like a stranger to yourself, and those very real physical hurdles she faced day in, day out. Understanding this part feels crucial before looking at any changes that might come later.
It really does. This story, even just this part of it, highlights that deep connection between our physical state and our emotional well-being. They're not separate things.
Not at all.
When one is under such strain, the other almost inevitably feels it too. It really makes you think about how much our physical selves shape our sense of who we are and how we move through the world.
It really does. It leaves you thinking, what must that actually feel like? To be truly trapped, as she felt, in a body that just doesn't feel like you anymore. That's a heavy thought.
It is, and this look at her initial struggle, it really underscores that powerful link between body and mind, making us wonder about those turning points, those moments that can shift someone onto a completely different path.
Feeling like you're dragging lately, or maybe, you're focused on shedding a few pounds and things just aren't quite clicking.
If so, you're probably in the right place today.
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the science of metabolism, and we're looking closely at some really interesting information you shared with us.
We are. We've got a collection of material here, and it all seems to center around a product called Mitolyn.
Right. And this includes details about the product itself, what users are saying about it, and maybe the most interesting part, several scientific claims they make, along with research references.
So our goal today is really to unpack all of this. What does this material tell us about how our bodies, convert food into energy?
We want to understand the main ideas they're presenting, take a closer look at the scientific backing they offer up,
and ultimately figure out what the key takeaways are for you, the listener.
And the central theme that really jumps out, it seems, is this idea that's attributed in the source to Harvard scientists.
Yeah, that these tiny structures inside our cells, called mitochondria, play this really crucial role in our metabolism and, well, how our bodies manage weight.
Okay, let's dig into this new scientific discovery that the website talks about.
Apparently, these Harvard scientists, and they mentioned looking at data from over 1,700 people, noticed a pretty consistent trend.
And what's really intriguing is the direct link they're proposing. According to the website, people who were overweight tended to have lower levels of mitochondria.
Whereas those who were leaner, more toned, generally had higher levels. And they're presenting this as like a new cause of slow metabolism.
Right. Not what you think is the phrase they use. It definitely makes you wonder about the standard explanations.
But let's focus on these mitochondria for a second. The website describes them as tiny parts found inside every cell, almost like miniature power plants.
Their main job.
Yeah.
To produce energy ATP by breaking down the food we eat and also stored fat. APP is basically the fuel currency for our cells, right?
Precisely. Your body's cells need a constant supply of energy for absolutely everything we do. And mitochondria are the units making that fuel.
So the website draws this very clear line. More mitochondria equals more fat burned to create energy.
That's the core connection they're making. And to back this up, they provide several scientific references. They're labeled A through D.
Reference A, it seems, looks at the connection between mitochondrial DNA copy number in white blood cells, leukocytes, and weight in women.
It's interesting they're looking at blood cells. I mean, getting blood is definitely less invasive than, say, a fat tissue biopsy.
Good point. So they're exploring if mitochondrial markers in the blood might reflect overall weight trends.
Yeah, though we always have to remember blood is different from, say, muscle or fat tissue itself. But it's a potential area for research.
Then reference B gets into something called impaired mitochondrial biogenesis in adipose tissue. That's fat tissue, right?
Correct, in people with obesity. And biogenesis just means the creation of new mitochondria.
So this seems to directly support their core idea, potentially reduced mitochondrial activity or creation in overweight individuals.
Exactly. If the body isn't efficiently making new energy units in fat tissue, that could certainly contribute to, well, metabolic issues there. It's likely one part of a bigger picture, of course.
Of course. If that machinery isn't working right, it could slow down energy use in those cells.
Makes sense.
Then we have C, which looks at the opposite situation. Higher mitochondrial activity in white fat tissue being linked to people who consistently stay at a lower body weight.
So that strengthens the other side of the argument, doesn't it? That active mitochondria might correlate with leanness.
It suggests that having more active little energy factories in your fat tissue might help burn more fat overall.
And finally, there's OD. This one looks at the link between the amount of mitochondrial DNA in blood and visceral fat. That's the really problematic fat around our organs in young adults.
So again, pointing to a potential link between mitochondrial stuff, even measured in blood, and body composition, specifically that concerning type of fat.
Yeah, it keeps circling back to this potential connection.
Okay, so all this background kind of sets the stage for the product itself. The website introduces Mitolyn as something specifically formulated to support healthy mitochondria levels.
And they position it as really novel, unlike anything you've ever tried, they say.
It's interesting how they frame it. They claim it's one of the only products in the world with this specific proprietary blend aimed at mitochondria.
A blend of 6 exotic nutrients and plants.
Right. Let's get into those key ingredients and what the website claims they do, especially how they connect back to mitochondria. First one is Maqui Berry.
Maqui Berry. They highlight its anthocyanin content, that's a type of antioxidant. And crucially, they claim it promotes mitochondria.
And they provide references for that, 1 and 2, which they say relate anthocyanins to mitochondria and metabolism.
They also tack on benefits for heart health and healthy cholesterol. So the pitch is this antioxidant doesn't just offer general health perks, but directly boosts those cellular powerhouses.
Okay. Next on the list is Rhodiola. They describe it as an adaptogen with polyphenols.
And again, the claim, it promotes mitochondria. They cite references 3 and 4, linking rhodiola to ATP production within mitochondria, and also to making new mitochondria, that biogenesis again.
Plus, they say it helps reduce stress, improves mood, supports brain health. Adaptogens are supposed to help the body handle stress, right?
That's the idea, yeah. Adaptogens are definitely popular in wellness for stress modulation. If rhodiola really does boost mitochondrial energy and creation, as they claim based on their references, that could be a mechanism for how it works.
Interesting connection. Moving on, Haematococcus. known for its astaxanthin.
Another antioxidant. And no surprise here, it apparently promotes mitochondria. They've got references 5 and 6 supposedly backing this, mentioning mitochondrial biogenesis and regulation too.
Benefits listed include healthy joints and a strong immune response. Astaxanthin's a pretty potent antioxidant effort.
It is. It's that vibrant red pigment. Its potential role in supporting mitochondrial health and renewal is definitely an active area of research.
Then there's amla, a fruit, right, rich in flavonoids and antioxidants.
And yes, following the pattern, it promotes mitochondria. References 7 and 8 are cited, connecting amla to mitochondrial capacity and potential anti-obesity effects.
The website also mentions support for healthy digestion and vision. Amla has a long history in traditional medicine, doesn't it?
It does. So these claims suggest a possible cellular mechanism for some of its traditional uses, linked to that rich antioxidant profile.
Okay, number 5 is Theobroma cacao, basically cocoa. They focus on its epicatechin content.
Which is a natural flavonoid. And, you guessed it,
It promotes mitochondria.
right, with references 9 and 10 supposedly relating to epicatechin and mitochondrial structure and function.
They also claim it supports healthy blood pressure and, interestingly, acts as a natural aphrodisiac.
Epicatech from cocoa has been studied quite a bit, actually, for potential heart health and even exercise performance benefits. Its interaction with mitochondria could well be part of that story.
And the last one is Schisandra, described as antioxidant-rich berries that support calorie burning.
And, predictably, it promotes mitochondria. References 11 and 12 are mentioned, focusing on Schisandra, mitochondrial biogenesis, and antioxidant effects.
They also list support for liver health and maintaining skin elasticity.
Schisandra is another one with a history in traditional use, often cited for liver protection and antioxidant properties. So linking it to mitochondria adds another potential layer to its activity.
So that's the ingredient lineup. The website also gives some general info about the product itself.
Yeah, they describe it as natural, plant-based, non-GMO, easy to swallow.
And importantly, no stimulants or habit-forming ingredients. That ticks a lot of boxes for health-conscious consumers.
Definitely. Fits that trend towards natural, gentler solutions. The no stimulants part is key for people sensitive to those.
Then they get into the buying options. You can get 1 bottle, a 30-day supply,
For a 3-bottle option, 90 days, which comes with 2 free bonuses.
and then the 6-bottle package, 180 days. That's the one they call most popular and their recommended option.
It also includes the 2 bonuses plus free shipping. They say 96% of customers choose that one.
That kind of marketing often hints that maybe you need to take it longer to see results, or it just looks like a better value per bottle.
It's a common strategy, yeah. Emphasizing the bulk buy for perceived savings or suggesting longer-term use is needed.
Right. And to ease concerns, they offer that 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee, even if the bottles are empty.
That's a strong guarantee. It definitely lowers the perceived risk for someone thinking about trying it out.
For sure. They also point out it's made in the USA in an FDA-registered and GMP-certified facility.
Using domestic and foreign ingredients, and undergoes third-party testing. That's all meant to build trust in the quality and safety.
And those certifications, GMP especially, and the third-party testing, are generally seen as good signs for manufacturing quality control.
They are. Shows a commitment to verification, at least in the manufacturing process.
Okay, then we hit the FAQ section. Frequently asked questions. First one, is it right for you?
And they target people struggling with stubborn fat storage.
Then, is it safe? They point to the natural, plant-based formula, but also advise consulting a doctor.
Which is always sound advice before starting any new supplement, especially if you have health conditions or take other meds.
Absolutely. Then, how many bottles to order? They recommend 3 to 6 months worth, particularly if you're over 35 or have excess weight.
Suggesting it takes time for the product to potentially work effectively. They also remind you about the free bonuses with those larger orders.
Right, reinforcing that longer-term idea. How to take it. 1 capsule daily with water. Simple enough? They say it works even while you sleep.
And they confirm it's a one-time payment. No auto ship, no hidden charges. That's a relief for many online shoppers.
Definitely a common concern. And finally, what if it doesn't work? They just reiterate that full money-back guarantee.
So transparency on billing and refunds seems pretty clear, which is good.
Now, to add some real-world flavor, the site includes user testimonials.
Yes, the personal story.
We hear from Peggy B. in Michigan. Used the 6-bottle package, reports being 35 pounds lighter, feeling more confident.
Those personal anecdotes can be very persuasive in marketing, offering relatable experiences.
Then there's Russell L. from Georgia. He bought the 3-bottle package, says he torched 29 pounds, now has more energy, clothes fit better.
Mentioning specific numbers and tangible results like clothing fit can definitely resonate with potential buyers looking for similar outcomes.
Of course, we should always remember individual results can vary widely.
Absolutely crucial point.
And lastly, Connie A. from New Jersey, another 6-bottle customer. She reports dropping 40 pounds, having more energy for her kids.
So these stories paint a picture of potentially significant positive changes.
But again, it's important to keep in mind these are individual accounts presented by the company, not independently verified studies.
Correct. Compelling stories, but they aren't scientific proof on the ground.
Now, about those free bonuses with the multi-bottle orders. Bonus number 1 is called One Day Kickstart Detox.
It features 20 detox tea recipes using everyday ingredients, apparently.
Short detoxes are pretty popular, often pitched as a way to kind of reset or prepare the body.
Yeah, they're a common trend. The actual long-term scientific backing for quick cleanses like that can be a bit mixed, though.
Good point. The second bonus is Renew You. This one focuses on stress relief, calming the mind, boosting confidence, reducing anxiety.
Sounds like a guide for overall well-being, sort of complementary to the main product.
Addressing mental and emotional health alongside the physical stuff is definitely seen as more holistic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Increasingly recognized as important for overall wellness.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. Bringing it all together, the big theme here is the apparently crucial role mitochondria play in our metabolism.
Right. This website, citing claims they attribute to Harvard scientists and pointing to several scientific studies, suggests that lower levels of these cellular powerhouses might be a key reason for slower metabolism and weight gain.
And their product, Mitolyn, is put forward as the solution, designed to support healthy mitochondria levels using that specific mix of 6 plant-based ingredients.
And we went through those Maqui Berry, Rhodiola, Haematococcus, Amla, Theobroma cacao, and Schisandra. The site details supposed benefits for each, often tying them back to promoting mitochondrial health, alongside other perks.
We also looked at the product details, the purchase options, bonuses, the guarantee, manufacturing standards, the FAQ.
And those user testimonials, all as presented on the Mitolyn website based on the information you provided us.
So this whole exploration highlights a central hypothesis, the link between how well your mitochondria function and how your body manages weight.
Alongside, obviously, a specific product being marketed to address that potential link.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, listening. Given what we've talked about, this potential role of mitochondria in energy and metabolism, and the information presented about Mitolyn, what clicks with you?
Does this whole idea of cellular energy production make you think differently about your own well-being, maybe your energy levels?
Perhaps you're even curious now to, look up some of those scientific references they provided on the website, learn a bit more about the research in this area yourself.
It's definitely a complex and evolving field. Understanding these fundamental processes happening inside our own cells can be a really fascinating journey.
If you're interested in this product, the purchase link is in the video description straight from the official website with full security for you. Reminder, stock is limited due to small batch production, and because of high demand, the price may increase at any time. Affordable price, much lower than conventional cosmetics. Take advantage while it's still available.